Bill O'Reilly here, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening today in America. Members of the NYPD enraged at Governor Cuomo. 7 in 10 Americans say it's time to bring in the National Guard to calm things down. George Floyd protests go global. Airbnb donates $500,000 to Black Lives Matter. A new study shows 70% of Americans now anxious over race relations. Also ahead, the message of the day, celebrities and politicians who are actually supporting violence. But first, New York City's top street cops saying police are outraged at Governor Cuomo's criticism of the department. Chief Terrence Monahan telling the New York Post his officers are, quote, giving their blood to keep the city safe, unquote. More than 100 members of the NYPD have been injured since the rioting began last Thursday. Cuomo blaming the cops for failing to contain the protest violence. More than 70% of Americans support deploying the National Guard to stop the looting and destruction. The poll from Morning Consult shows just 18% do not want the National Guard to intervene. 15 states and Washington, D.C. have deployed troops to help local police regain control. More than 6,000 people have been arrested in protests nationwide. Demonstrators also shutting down streets in France, Australia, Great Britain, and the Netherlands to promote so-called social justice. Anti-riot vehicles were deployed across Paris after angry residents set fire and defaced monuments. Future protests are planned near U.S. embassies in Europe later this week as the anarchists begin to get organized. Apartment sharing platform Airbnb donating $500,000 to Black Lives Matter in order to promote equality and justice. The decision not sitting well with nearly 2,000 workers the company fired in May to save money during the pandemic. Black Lives Matter, in case you don't know, wants to abolish all police agencies. A new survey says 7 in 10 adults now anxious over anti-police protests. Another 26% say their level of fear is actually higher than the pandemic. In a moment, famous people who are endorsing violence. We'll name names next. Edward and his wife, Margaret, were looking forward to retirement. Edward started having serious health issues a few years before he turned 65 and had to take an unplanned early retirement. The loss of income and medical bills meant Edward could not afford his expenses, including the premiums on a $1 million life insurance policy. Faced with lapsing their policy for nothing, Edward and Margaret turned to Coventry Direct and were able to sell the policy for $130,000. If you own a life insurance or term policy that you don't need or can't afford, Coventry Direct can help you receive an average of 4 times more cash than you'd get from your life insurance carrier. You can even sell a portion of your existing policy and still maintain coverage with no future premium obligations. See if you qualify. Please call 1-800-888-3791 or visit CoventryHelpsSeniors.com. That's 1-800-888-3791 or visit CoventryHelpsSeniors.com. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. Some of the violence across the country is beginning to subside as cities become more organized. But it is worth noting the famous people supporting violent protests. Here we go. Actors Steve Carell, Seth Rogen, Don Cheadle, Justin Timberlake are just a few who are donating bail money. Now, people who protest in a non-violent way are released. They're not held on bail. Only violent looters and people who have assaulted other people are given bail. So the aforementioned are trying to get them out. Says Timberlake, quote, "Please join me in supporting the Minneapolis protesters by donating to the Freedom Fund. The Freedom Fund is combating the harms of incarceration by paying bail for low-income individuals who cannot otherwise afford, unquote. No mention by Timberlake of the death and destruction caused by violent people. Senator Bernie Sanders, quote, "The looting of America has been going on for over 40 years, and the culprits are the ultra-rich." Sanders blaming wealthy people again for what is happening in the streets. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, quote, "If you're calling for an end to unrest but not calling out police brutality, all you're asking for is the continuation of quiet oppression." Actually, that's mild for the communist congresswoman. Late night host Jimmy Kimmel, quote, "Is this who you want leading us? A president who clearly and intentionally inflames violence in the middle of a riot to show how tough he is." Kimmel does not explain that. Rapper Ice Cube, quote, "How long will we go for blue on black crime until we strike back?" Colin Kaepernick, quote, "When civility leads to death, revolting is the only logical reaction. The cries for peace will rain down, and when they do, they will land on deaf ears because your violence has brought this resistance. We have the right to fight back." Mr. Kaepernick actively calling for actual physical revolution, violence against other Americans. Perhaps the worst thing I saw in all of this came from the chief law enforcement officer of Massachusetts, a woman named Maura Healey, who is the attorney general there. Quote, "Keep fighting for what's right and just, and to seize the opportunity we all have to lift up, celebrate, and advance the dignity and opportunity of every human being. Every one of us has a chance to change society, and working together we can. Yes, America is burning, but that's how forests grow," unquote. Deplorable, shocking, and impeachable for an attorney general to promote violence. I'm Bill O'Reilly, and I approve that message by actually writing it. For more news analysis, please visit BillO'Reilly.com. In a moment, something you might not know. Working from home is causing the worst type of cybercrime, home title theft. While we're doing everything from working, banking, shopping in the house, cybercriminals are targeting our homes. They want the money they can get by taking out loans against the house. The crime is called home title theft, and the FBI is warning all homeowners. Home Title Lock protects your home from cyber thieves. Your home's legal title is online. Thieves can find it and forge your signature stating you sold your home to them. Then they take out loans and leave you in debt. Banks, insurance, and basic identity theft services do not protect you. Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier around your home's title. So please go to HomeTitleLock.com and register your address to see if you are already a victim. You can use the code BILL for 30 free days of protection. That's code BILL at HomeTitleLock.com. Now, the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know, and I didn't know this until my 16-year-old son wound me up. There is a tremendous amount of music available on YouTube. All you got to do is punch it up. Concerts, individual songs, you name it. Now, the polls say many Americans are depressed about the pandemic, the quarantine, the protests. It's not a good time in the USA. There's a lot of stuff going on, most of it bad. But music can lift your spirits. So here are some recommendations that you can just instantly get. First up, Stevie Nicks. All right, she is one of the lead singers of Fleetwood Mac. Well, she goes out on her own, and she gave a concert in Chicago recently, the last couple of years. Boy, it's good. Let's punch up Stevie Nicks, Chicago. Sade doesn't tour much. Beautiful woman, beautiful voice. 2 concerts, one in San Diego, the other in Montreux, Switzerland. Punch those up. You'll like them. Then Kool and the Gang. Any concert with them featuring the lead singer J.T. Taylor, who left the group, you got to watch. Same thing with the OJs. Eddie Levert, a good guy. The OJs, fabulous music, fabulous stage presence. Hall & Oates, how many hits did they have? But my favorite is a song called Possession Obsession. Check that out. The best single record, remember single records? The best of all time. Ready? Brooke Benton, Rainy Night in Georgia. Then there are the legends, The Doors. Check out their concert at Whiskey A Go-Go in LA. The Bee Gees, their Vegas concert. 2 of the Bee Gees are deceased now, but boy, this Vegas concert, lights out. And finally, you want some laughs after your music? Sebastian Maniscalco. Let me repeat the name. Sebastian Maniscalco. Funniest guy around. Back after this. Reopening America safely is everyone's responsibility, and no one believes that more than our friends at Real Time Products. In fact, they're helping businesses and organizations by giving away a free automatic dispenser with a purchase of 2 gallons of Real Time hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer dispensers are available in wall mount, floor stand, or countertop, so customers, employees, parishioners, anyone can dispense the sanitizer safely. Real-Time hand sanitizer contains 70% alcohol, and you'll never need another hand sanitizer supplier. Real-Time hand sanitizer, formulated and packaged in the USA. To claim your free hand sanitizer dispenser, please go to getsanitizernow.com. Don't assume a business or organization you frequent doesn't care. They're probably having trouble getting sanitizer. So spread the word that Real Time has dispensers and gallons of sanitizer available right now. Do your part. GetSanitizerNow.com. GetSanitizerNow.com. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.